Recap. My great aunt set up savings account for all of her female relatives. In our culture, education for women is not really valued, and she thought that was BS. She lived with her father in London where she was educated. She went on to attend university and became a doctor. She married a British man and they moved to America. They had a great life. She funded the education of as many of her nieces and grandnieces as she could. When she passed away, she left money for every girl relative she could. My parents managed to access the accounts that were set up for my sister and me. They used the money to pay for my brother's wedding. My sister didn't care because she got married 2 years out of high school and had no intention of going to college. When I graduated, I went to the bank to get money for school, and it was almost gone. There was about $13,000 left. I asked my parents about it, and they said they needed the money. I finally found out where the money went. I got furious. I got student loans and moved out. I'm a great source of shame to them, and I don't care. I'm currently suing them for the money that was left for me. My entire family is against me. They all think I'm a complete idiot for airing private family business in public, and that I'm putting money ahead of family. My friends are all on my side, but they're all Americans and don't really understand my culture. Neither am I, to be honest. My brother called and offered to pay for my university if I dropped the lawsuit. I agreed, as long as we had a legally binding contract. He said I was being an idiot for not trusting him. I said he shouldn't have accepted my money for his wedding. It's causing all kinds of embarrassment in our community. I am somewhat ashamed to be doing this, but I don't want to have this debt that I shouldn't have. Update. Am I the idiot for suing my parents for my college money? It's over. I got my money. I've also been pretty much disowned by my family, but I consider that a win as well. My parents ended up having to mortgage some property to pay me back for what they stole. My family's embarrassed that I forced them to this point after they had offered to pay me back in installments. Nobody's willing to answer me when I ask what would make my parents pay me back if I was stupid enough to trust them. I've been told that I'll never find a husband from our culture with my belligerent attitude and strident independence. I laughed. I want nothing to do with that culture, except perhaps to enjoy the food. I plan on never returning to that country. I'm enjoying the independence that I've achieved, and am more than happy to know that several others of the young women in my family have taken steps to lock down the education funds left for them. For those of you who think it's misogynist that my great aunt only cared about educating women, please die angry. It always cracks me up when someone does something terrible and then gets mad when they get caught because of how it looks to other people, as though it's perfectly fine to be lower than garbage as long as no one finds out. How dare you make people mad at me for the things I did and said? LMAO. The community does not judge them for taking the money. Everyone in this community probably thinks they were right to take it for the son's wedding. The community judges them because they have an educated daughter who fights for what's hers. That's the real shame for the OP's family. Congratulations on your independence, and best of luck in your education and career. Your great aunt rocks. I concur, your great aunt rocks, and this internet stranger is also very proud of you. In fact, I would go further and say that you're incredible. Your fortitude in facing your parents, brother, and family in a challenging cultural setting is extraordinary. You're the kind of person that we should all watch because you can do anything you put your mind to, OP. You're going to be amazing. The best revenge is being happy, and in your case, educated. So my nearly adult male dad left my mom when I was a young teen to be with his wife, or the woman he was cheating on my mom with. My dad didn't want me to think badly of him, but I did. He knew I did, and he knew he couldn't change my mind easily. We always knew my parents would end up with shared custody until I was the age I am now. From experience, the judges in family court will only stop enforcing shared custody when a kid turns my age and speaks out. Any younger and they insist on 50-50. I also knew mom would struggle on her own because while she did work, she never made as much as my dad. She also wouldn't get child support because of the 50-50, and it wasn't ordered even with the difference in income. So when Dad pleaded with me to give him a chance to show he could still be a good dad and said he would do anything for me, I told him to keep supporting Mom and ensure she wouldn't end up struggling while he got off so easy. I told him she deserved that, at least, after what he did, and I deserved to see my mom doing well. My dad agreed, and he paid it as child support instead of spousal support or whatever it's called. It helped Mom, and she went back to school to get a better job. Dad is still paying that money. He knows I appreciate him doing it, and he knows it's also one of the only reasons I didn't just decide to say screw him and never want a relationship again. My mom is also less stressed. She has mixed feelings about my dad giving her money when legally he doesn't need to, but she also knows this is the only way for me not to feel the need to help support her. Where my dad's wife comes into it is this. She never liked that my dad paid this child support. She never liked that I insisted on my dad and I having a relationship. But now my dad's house is struggling a bit, and they need to make some changes. His wife's son and daughter were in dance, football, softball, karate, music lessons, and an art class as paid extracurriculars. My dad and his wife also have a baby together. The wife's kids have had to cut 2 activities because they couldn't afford them anymore. This makes his wife angry because if dad wasn't paying the money, they could still afford those things. She told me I should stop obligating my dad to support my mom because they needed more, and my mom isn't their problem. I told her she and her kids are not my problem. She told me that they're my family, while my mom is not her or her kids' family, or my dad's anymore. I told her she and her kids are my dad's family, but not mine. She told me they need all of dad's money right now, before more things must be cut back on. I shrugged in response. She told me I was so callously flippant, and it wasn't a good look to care so little about my siblings' lives. Only one of her kids, the baby, is technically my half-sibling. Am I the idiot? What the heck did she expect? Sleeping with a married man. She can get a second job if money's a problem. Good to know your dad is only 50% sleazebag, not 100%. Regardless, it's absolutely not your problem. I hope your mom is doing well now. Every time she brings it up, remind her that it was her choice to sleep with a married man. She literally messed around and found out. She's a goddarn hypocrite. I expect you to have empathy for me and mine. Yeah, like you had empathy for the man's wife and child whom you slept with? Absolutely not the idiot. Out of curiosity, how long will daddy continue paying? Until you're 18 or until mom graduates? For me, it's until mom graduates. It's what I feel he owes. I can't technically make him pay that long though. Then I'll be in a much better place. After dad screwed her over so badly, it's the least he can do, and the least I expect. The stepmom actually said her kids needed therapy to help them adjust to such big changes. This made me laugh because they cut 2 activities out of a long list. My husband, 28 male, and I, 28 female, went camping for the weekend. We left on Friday and came home on Sunday. We trusted our friend, 26 male, to watch our 2 cats, 1 dog, and ducks. On Saturday, my husband got a call from his friend that one of the ducks had died. Okay, that's understandable. Things like this happen. They were only a few weeks old and sometimes they just don't make it. Sunday morning, we came home. The dead duck is still in the container with the other ducks. The second duck is dying and the third is hanging on. Their water container was bone dry and their food halfway full. If you know anything about raising ducks, they need to submerge their whole bill in water to keep their mucous membrane wet. If that dries out, they can have many complications and ultimately die. Sobbing, I try to keep the second and third duck alive by placing them in shallow water in hopes that they drink. But the second one died. The third one was the only survivor. As my husband and I were dealing with this, he texted his friend, questioning how he cared for the ducks. He admitted to barely giving them enough water. I was distraught. Many things in my life have been suddenly taken from me, and the timing of this was horrific. Flash forward a few days. I reach out to our friend's fiance, 25 female, since I haven't heard from them since the incident. I thought of her as one of my best friends. I asked if she knew what had occurred, and she had no idea. Also, I'm the maid of honor in their wedding. Well, I was. I let her know that although she's engaged to a duck killer, I don't fault her, nor do I expect her to find any resolution. This is his problem and not hers. The timing was terrible because we had a bridal dinner coming up. I told our friend's fiance that I would not be in attendance due to the recent event, and that as time passed, I would be more active in events, but just not right now. We had a great weekend planned in the future, and I was looking forward to that. My husband and I have lost 2 children in recent years, as well as a few family members. So the death of anything in my life absolutely takes me out and brings me back to those days. Everyone in our friend group knows this as well. A few days go by, 2 days, and our friend's fiance texts me saying that she doesn't like the way I've been treating her and that I will be removed from the wedding and uninvited. I've been friends with her since she started dating her fiance. We used to go out all the time and hang out randomly, plan her wedding and get into whatever made sense for that day. Confused, since I hadn't spoken to her since I said I needed space 2 days ago, I agreed and told her she could then pay me back for my dress since we just ordered them a few weeks prior. I also told her that she and our friend have shown no remorse over what was done. He killed 2 of my ducks and has acted like nothing has happened. With no response to that, I then told her she made a huge decision that could have been avoided if we were just to speak to one another, but I felt as though it was not my job to seek that conversation. If they want to apologize, they will. I will not force it. Of course, I added in a few other words regarding her terrible attitude towards me. Since then, our friend has made peace with me and apologized. He's offered to buy more ducks for me when I'm ready and has proven to not be so heartless. He's come around and helped my husband with projects and busy work. His fiance has not said a word, even after I've tried to reach out a few times. Today we received an invitation in the mail. You guessed it. It was a guest invitation for my husband and me to attend their wedding, listing my husband as the best man and myself as a guest. My husband had no idea he was the best man. When I showed him, he was confused. When I was kicked out of the wedding, my husband and I agreed that neither of us would attend, but now my husband is set on attending. Ultimately, I said if he chose to go to the wedding, he chose to support the individuals who have disrespected me. As his wife, he shouldn't have allowed that to happen. He says that if he chooses not to go, then he'll lose a friend for good. He still has not decided on what he'll do. Clearly, one person will be hurt over his decision, but I'm disappointed that he's not keeping his promise and backing me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Thirsting to death is a horrible way to go and easily preventable. You trusted your husband's best friend to keep your ducks alive, and not only could he not do the absolute minimum by making sure that they had water, but he also didn't even remove the dead body. If someone let my pet thirst to death and showed no remorse, I would also distance myself from their wedding. Your husband needs a wake-up call, right? If I was looking after someone's pets and they weren't doing well, I'd call them and ask them if I was missing something or if they wanted to take them to the vet. I wouldn't just look at obviously suffering animals and go, meh, especially after one of them died. That's a pretty big red flag that something in their environment is off and making them sick. Out of all of this, I'm still stuck on the husband being listed as the best man, but I was never asked or even informed prior to the arrival of the invitation. It's pretty clear this was the bride's idea to get back at OP. I think OP should let her husband go and not attend herself. The groom will need his friend when he divorces this witchy and sensitive bride, because I don't think this new marriage will last long. He was 100% asked and said yes, but he didn't have the balls to admit it to OP that he agreed to be the best man, so he lied to OP about not being asked. This also explains why he won't agree to abstain from attending the wedding. Honestly, OP has bigger issues than the wedding and lost ducks, as her husband doesn't have her back and is lying to her or doesn't respect her. I feel bad for OP. Tell your husband he can be in the wedding, but must wear the bridesmaid's dress, which you'll obviously not get reimbursed for. But what are you going to do if he goes? This won't bode well for the rest of your marriage. Ultimatums are all fun and games until they aren't, and someone must be the loser. I'm sorry for your losses and I hope you're healing. I don't blame you for the ultimatum, but I do wonder how your husband can stand next to a man that caused his wife so much grief. Best of luck. My 28 female sister, Bree, 29 female, is getting married a year from now. Recently, she reached out to ask me to be a bridesmaid. I was surprised because Bree and I aren't super close, but I was happy to be a part of her special day. I used to be extremely overweight, and last year I decided to take control of my health and lost 75 pounds. I'm much happier and healthier than I was, but I'd still like to lose another 60. This became complicated when Bree sent us a link to the dress she wanted us to buy. I've never been a bridesmaid, but it is common for brides to ask their bridesmaids to buy their own dresses. Still, the dress she requested cost $300, which seemed pricey to me. Bree's asked us to order the dress within a couple of weeks, as it's popular and she's worried it'll sell out. I called Bree and told her that I'm on a weight loss journey and will only buy clothes once I get closer to my goal weight if they're from Goodwill or Walmart or something. Bree seemed really upset by this. She asked if I could just purchase the size I am now and have it be loose at the wedding. I told her I plan on being almost 60 pounds lighter by the wedding, so the dress won't be loose. It'll literally fall off. Bree asked then if I could slow down my weight loss until after the wedding so the dress would fit. I told her absolutely not. I feel amazing, but I'm already losing slowly and steadily. I presented Bree with 3 solutions. 1, I can wait to buy the dress until closer to the wedding, as I requested. 2, she can buy me the dress now with her money. Or 3, I drop out of the bridal party, since she probably has people she's closer with than me anyway. Bree did not seem keen on any of those options, even removing me from the bridal party. She told me I was ruining her big day, and that it was about her, not me. So why does it matter if I wear a dress that's a little loose? I hung up after that to give Bree some time to cool off. But then I got a call from my mother, telling me what a horrible sister I was, and how selfish I was for not just ordering the bridesmaid's dress. She reiterated how it's Bree's day, not mine, and that when I have my own wedding, I can do things exactly how I want. To be truthful, I'm finally starting to feel confident and to like how I look. Before I started losing weight, I wouldn't have cared if I wore a too loose dress because I was fat and ugly anyway. But now, even though I only buy dirt cheap clothes, I buy clothes that flatter me and accentuate my curves. I put a lot more effort into hair, makeup, and overall presentation. So yes, even though it's not my wedding, this will probably be the first formal event I go to after losing weight, and I know many pictures will be taken. I want to look my best in these photos because I know I'll look back on them and remember how hard I worked to get here. Does that make me a selfish idiot? You are the idiot. You're making this situation overly complicated. This is seriously so simple. It's like you're trying to be frustrated over it. As someone who works at a bridal shop, your sister's the sane one here. You're being a huge pain. As a quick side note, even if you wait and buy the dress in your current size, you still need alterations once you're down 60 pounds. Actual formal gowns will always need a hem, maybe a pinch on the top, etc. Not every size 6 has the same measurements, and neither does every size 14. So you'll have a foot in the door for alterations anyway. So it really isn't a big deal to have the dress pinched in where you need it. Taking a dress in 2 inches costs the same as taking a dress in 6 inches. That's a super good point. Styles always sell out and designers don't always do recuts. Either way, she should buy the dress now. In my opinion, I'd only go 1 size down if she's going to buy smaller. You can always take a dress in, but it can often be a nightmare to let it out. You can barely get a 1/4 to 1/2 inch per seam. I am completely shocked by the responses here. You're not an idiot. $300 for a dress that may or may not fit in a year, which then will likely need tailoring, which is not cheap, for someone you're not even close with. You gave her reasonable options, and she continues to be unreasonable. Anyone saying just buy the dress and have it altered should be willing to foot that bill.